one of the things like we probably get the most attention for, we had this crazy idea, like how do you kind of blend this idea of like what humor is, this kind of like faceless brand, to also like what these influencers are, which have much more notoriety and influence. And we started getting this idea of like virtual influencers, and we started creating virtual influencers, like a fully computer generated influencer that is like, you know, built from scratch.
This is foreign to me, so like what the fuck do you mean? Welcome back to the 4Media Uncut podcast. Today's guests, two really young gentlemen doing honestly like world-changing shit out here, working with some of the coolest brands and doing the most innovative things on the digital marketing and, should I say, metaverse side of things. Pretty cool. I met these two guys actually working on a project together maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, like first getting kind of into the beginning of our careers, and we both noticed we were sharp, started following each other, and kind of been in contact ever since. But actually this is the first time that I've actually sat them down and be like, dude, what are you guys doing? Because I see you guys doing some crazy ass shit, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear what they have for us in this episode.
Yeah, so today we got Shep Ogden and Bailey Grady on the podcast. Just for some context, we're releasing this in the middle of June, but we actually recorded this back before Eddie had his baby. We were just batching episodes because we knew Eddie wasn't going to be able to record for a while. So this was recorded on April 13th. So just for some context, in that time, Bailey actually got married. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
And also the crypto market and the stock market and everything has taken an absolute dump. So when we talk about the crypto crash, just know we're talking about the previous one. But yeah, on this episode, we talked about some crazy stuff, and really just Offbeat, like they just understand Gen Z marketing, and that's what everyone's trying to get into right now. And they just have such a firm grasp on it. It's amazing to talk to them and really understand what's going on. And dude, my mind was mostly blown by the real-time tracking stuff, how they were able to track like real foot traffic into businesses. Blew my mind. You definitely don't want to skip any parts of this episode. It was super good. So without any further ado, please enjoy this episode with Shep and Bailey.
Cool, yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Super excited to have you, and most importantly, catch up. We haven't seen each other in 5 years, so you guys have done some pretty cool stuff. So fill us in on yourselves if you want to start, and then you go. Like, give us your names, kind of age, what you guys are up to right now, and then we'll jump right in.
Yeah, sure. You want to kick it off?
Go for it.
I'm Bailey Grady, COO and co-founder at Offbeat Media Group. I'm 25 years old. Getting married in 2 months. So
congrats.
Joining the married gang with Eddie over here. Lead operations, some of our stuff on our content team at Offbeat, as well as working on our agency side. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I'm Shep. I'm CEO, co-founder with Bailey, and another guy named Christopher at Offbeat Media Group. 26 years old, and met Bailey at UGA a few years ago, and then met you like right after, and excited to be here.
Crazy. What do you guys do at Offbeat?
So at Offbeat, might be helpful to actually share our story about Offbeat. That's like the easiest way to walk people through like how we got to everything we're doing. But like in short, like we help like big brands like reach the young generation. Like that's like in short what we do. But it's cool whenever you think about like how we do that. And like Bailey, I think your background on like what you started in high school is a great way to kick that off.
High school?
Yeah.
Like 9 years ago.
15 years old. I was in high school flipping stuff on eBay, trying to figure out how to make money on the internet. Once you start making money on the internet, you want to find more ways to make money on the internet. Heard about some kids at my high school making money on Twitter. They're making a ridiculous amount of money for high school, making thousands of dollars a week.
Dude, I know exactly what crowd you're talking about.
Yeah. You're a big crowd at Alpharetta.
Big crowd at Alpharetta.
That's what started and jumped over my school.
That's crazy.
Know all those guys. Wanted to figure out how to make money online. I was like, if I could make $20 a week, $50 a week, that'd be awesome because I didn't have an allowance, and I had a dream of I wanted to buy a truck, and was like, okay, my parents, I was fortunate, they're helping me buy my first car, but I was like, I want a truck. I got a 2000 Jeep Cherokee, which was awesome, but I was like, I want an F-150, and F-150s were like $22,000 at the time. I was like, I don't have $20,000 to do that. So figured out how to start building an audience on Twitter, started working for people, running their Twitter pages, figuring out how to grow on Twitter, and building an audience, about 15 million followers over the course of probably 5-6 years on Twitter and on Instagram. Figured out how to monetize that, had apps in the top 50 on the App Store. Just did that for a while. Worked with a lot of different people at Alpharetta or Blessed Trinity when I went to high school. Building these audiences.
BT?
Yeah.
That's sick. I went to Pinecrest. We were like
nice
sports rivals, I guess.
Yeah,
Catholic schools battling it out.
That's how I started, just figuring out how to monetize, working with different influencers to monetize their audience on Twitter, on YouTube, and other platforms.
Were you the one like building the apps? Like you said, top 50 apps in the App Store, or were you already starting to like hire out people and stuff?
Yeah, so would work with contractors to build the apps or reskin apps or kind of develop those. And then also had a couple different partners I was working on different apps. I'd reach out to apps and say, hey, I want to market for you on RevShare. I want this. We had an app hit 200,000 downloads in a week and was training for like 3 days straight. Nick Jonas tried to, I think it was Nick, either Nick or Kevin, tried to buy our app. It was not worth it. But yeah, did that for a while. And yeah, started growing audiences doing that. And then I met Shep in college. That was 2018 when we met, and he had his own marketing agency running brands. And I'll let you tell that story.
Yeah, I was basically built up a social media marketing agency. I was running about 50 or so Instagram accounts primarily for brands. And
Like organic, right?
Yeah, all organic. A lot of automation though, but all organic on like how we were building it. And you know, what I found, like, as I was doing that, was like, it was really, really interesting if you could acquire really interesting usernames on Instagram. And so I started looking to acquire specifically like local Instagram. So I bought Alabama on Instagram, Dominican Republic, South Carolina, Iowa.
You bought
West
Dominican
Virginia.
Republic?
Yeah.
Dude, why did I think Alok owned it? He always had it on his phone, like, yo, I own Dominican Republic on Instagram.
He did for like a week because he went in on it with me, and then I bought it from him.
That's so funny, bro. That's amazing.
Yeah. So like bought Malaysia.
You're basically buying like digital real estate on Instagram.
Yeah. That's exactly like how I thought about it. It was like, if we could own this, like, we could then start building
Eventually someone will want that name and I can sell it.
Well, someone will want that name, but two, like, I already had 40, 50, Instagram accounts that I was managing for, a few $100 a week each, and a few $100 a month each. And I was thinking these are going to be the best way of getting lead gen. Like, they have now, a lot of the accounts that I had tens of thousands of followers at the time for like a local market. So it was easy to be like the account that they would come to do this stuff. And then I started like looking, and I started acquiring like more like unique and interesting usernames. Like, I own Newsfeed on Instagram, which I thought was really interesting whenever you start thinking about the fact that I own Newsfeed on the Newsfeed.
That's sick.
And then I was like, I need to talk to more people doing stuff like this. There was a bunch of sketchy people I met online that like wasn't really who I was trying to do real business with, because I didn't know anything about them. And so I started talking to people at UGA, and I was like, how do I, like, do you know anyone else doing anything like this? And I heard about this guy that was doing Twitter pages, whatever that meant. And yeah, I ended up like meeting Bailey through that, found out that he also had that same kind of mentality. He owned humor on Instagram. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Someone else that has going after digital real estate, to your point. And it was like, I think I can help you make money with that stuff.
What year is this? It's like 2013?
2018.
18, way later.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish I was born 5 years. Like that window of 5 years, seriously, it's so special. Like, him discovering this at 16 is insane. Because like that was me at like 20, and I was ahead of everyone else still. You know what I mean? It just happened to be like I was just older.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's interesting. I think being the age, how old are you?
I just turned 28.
So you just turned 28, so you're 2 years older than me. I think being this age, though, I think Bailey was.
But I skipped a year in school.
Early.
So it like, I'm actually like in the timeline of life 3 years ahead.
You graduated 2012 or 2011?
2015 from college.
No, from high school.
Oh, 2011, but I graduated at 17. So my whole first year of school, I was 17.
Twitter and Instagram didn't start until 2012, 2013, 2014.
That's what I'm saying.
Steam.
So like,
I
if I was still in
remember-
high school, I think I would have had like a tighter grasp. But because I was in college, it was kind of like so wide. I was like hanging out with high school kids trying to learn how they were having 100 million followers on Twitter accounts.
I remember Snapchat. Like, I got it on my phone when I was in college. Like, as a freshman, like that was the first time I downloaded Snapchat.
I'll say, I mean, like, I do agree with you if you went to the right high school, right?
Exactly.
But it's like, I definitely didn't hear about any of this until I went to college. And it was like, being in the age we were, it was like that perfect age to start capitalizing on these platforms, because I didn't have literally anywhere to be. Like, when I was in college, I
have unlimited time, bro.
Yeah, I had unlimited time. Could like really dive really, really deep into this stuff.
Which people don't realize that, like, how much free time you have in college and in high school.
Way too much.
Stupid.
It's so unappreciated, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, dude, I'm so
You're
busy.
stressed, but
Think about how many kids that were just like, I'm probably just gonna go home and nap for a long time and then play Halo or something. Like, it's like they just had so much time.
To be fair, sometimes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's for like 8 hours. It's like fuck.
Yeah, but going back, so like that's kind of how we got going. Is we were like, all right, I think I can help you make money with that account humor. Like, I think I can help sell ads on that account, which is basically memes, right? Like, we're going to apps, we're going to e-com brands, we were going to record labels, we were going to some brands and trying to sell basic ads. And the next thing you know, like, we sold a few ads. One app was like, holy shit, I just got so many installs from this meme. Can you guys do you have more accounts? Can you give us like 10 more accounts? And we're like, well, yeah, totally. We didn't own the accounts, but we realized that like we could connect with everyone else in that industry of like meme accounts. And we started building out and brokering a really large meme network. And ended up getting to about 2,000 or so accounts that we were brokering for, primarily for, like I said, entertainment companies and apps. And then next thing you know, we're running billions of impressions through this meme network. Biggest client ended up being TikTok, right after, 6 months after we started this.
It was 2018, fall of 2018, October.
Yeah.
Before anyone knew what TikTok was, they came to us and said, hey, we want to market in the United States, drive installs from Instagram, from Snapchat to our new app. I didn't download the app for 3 or 4 months after they started paying us a lot of money. Just because I was like, oh, this app's going to be gone in a few months. But now it's obviously one of the biggest platforms out there and some people using it. But yeah, it was just after the rebrand of Musical.ly and ended up marketing for them in 13 or 14 different countries. Driving new user acquisition campaigns, and drove 5 billion impressions or something, branded impressions over that time period for TikTok. So,
and the whole thought behind that, which was really fascinating after we learned about it, like why they wanted to partner with us, was because we were doing things like meme marketing. We had like these really like same with on Twitter, we were doing meme marketing with these large publisher accounts.
It's organic in such a different way. Like I think a lot of people think of organic as like individual influencers, like I'm Peter McKinnon and I'm doing organic on my shit, but it's like with the meme pages and stuff, it's like a faceless, it's almost like a company that's just like cranking out memes, and people don't think about the fact that there's literally like a team of people behind like Shithead Steve or whatever,
But also think about like, why do you go to a meme account? Like, what are you looking for whenever you go to a meme account?
Shareability.
You're going relatability to laugh. Like that is it. And so now what we're doing is we're taking the funniest stuff on the TikTok app, the best, most viral content, and we're putting it on every single meme account across the internet. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, basically telling everyone in the world, billions of people at this point, that TikTok has the funniest, most shareable content. And we probably did that for like 6 months, just paying all of these accounts. And then someone at TikTok asked us, they were like, okay, are you guys starting to see these accounts like just sharing TikTok content for free? And we're like, no. Why would they do that? We're paying them a ton of money to do that. But the next thing you know, like now you look at meme accounts, the bulk of the content is this viral, shareable, funny content. And like that was like their strategy from the get-go. With
TikTok watermarks.
Yeah, with TikTok watermarks. Like that was their strategy from the whole get-go, where like we were thinking we were just driving users, but what they were doing was they were like really attacking culture. They're like, if we can make TikTok be the most shareable piece of content on all these other platforms, everyone knows they need to download it because they could just get the source from TikTok. Mm-hmm. It was one of the most brilliant marketing strategies that we've ever seen, and probably one of the ones that we've been a part of, especially back then. But so we scaled that business up. Like that was like our core business, grew to a multi-million-dollar a year in revenue around basically helping brands and apps and record labels get memes on large meme accounts. That led to like that understanding of TikTok though led to us like really diving deep into TikTok and like partnering with TikTok influencers and realizing, hey, we've been promoting this app for 2 years and now there's starting to get to be some pretty meaningful influencers. Brands are also starting to get kind of interested in this platform. How do we start capitalizing on that? And so now we do a ton of TikTok marketing for like TikTok influencer marketing and paid ads for, McDonald's and for DoorDash and for the Cheesecake Factory, major record labels, entertainment companies. Like those are kind of like some of our client bases, like for TikTok specifically. And like that's kind of been like kind of what we consider like the agency business. We do a lot of like services like that, helping brands tap into meme accounts, influencers, and now we do things like, augmented reality lenses and like help brands make shareable content. It could be a lens, it could be a meme, it could be a GIF, it could be all kind of stuff like that. And that does pretty well. But doing that, and owning humor, we saw like a big opportunity to start like creating more original content. And that's whenever like we kind of started shifting from just the agency mindset to saying, wow, like we're helping blow up some influencers and some artists. Like, what if we did this for our own shows? And then we created a show. You want to talk about Excuse Me What?
Yeah, we launched Excuse Me What in May of 2019. No, I guess 2020, right after COVID hit. Yeah. And we reached out to a comedian in New York that we had done some stuff with on humor before. We're like, hey, We think it'd be great for this. Let's go around and create a show, blow it up, and create some awesome content.
And it was a Snapchat show?
YouTube. It started on YouTube
nice.
And TikTok, and just going around interviewing people across the country, weird cultures, like different types of cultures, going to everything you can think of in between different festivals, events, just see different perspectives of America. So that was our first show, and we just had a big opportunity of creating original content and using platforms like Humor to grow that audience. And had some early success with it, still running, and bringing it across different platforms to monetize and grow. And just saw a big opportunity. Okay, if we can create media like Humor and build media like that, how do we create a brand that actually has a face to it? Because Humor doesn't have a face to it. It's just a meme page. You're not going to have that fandom behind it, most likely, behind a brand like that. So how do we create brands that have faces to it, have talent in it? Me and Shep aren't going to get on camera and go interview people or crack jokes or whatever it might be. So how do we bring in talent that have those skill sets, and then we know how to market out there, grow the audience, and monetize the audience?
So we've got about 10 shows now like that, primarily on Snapchat. Like Snapchat's a big partner of ours now, and so we distribute them across Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We're kind of like the big 4 platforms. Our goal is to have about 50 shows by the end of this year.
All on Snapchat?
Snapchat's like a primary partner.
How many shows do they have on Snapchat?
Hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah.
Less than 1,000.
Yeah.
But hundreds.
Yeah, it's interesting because like on YouTube, it's like anyone can kind of create a channel, and the
Right.
big ones just like rise to the top. But like Snapchat's curating them on the Discover page.
Exactly.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And so like it took a while for us to like structure that partnership and with them, but once we did, it's like they know what type of content we want to create, and we're just basically creating as much content as we can for that platform. But one of the things like we probably get the most attention for, and like what we're doing is like we had this crazy idea, like we were working with all these influencers both on TikTok, helping brands partner with them, and then we're also working to create content with these influencers. And then we got the idea of like how do you kind of blend this idea of like what Humor is, this kind of like faceless brand, like you said, to also like what these influencers are, which have like much more notoriety and influence. And we started getting this idea of like virtual influencers, and we started creating virtual influencers, like learning a ton about that space. And what we mean by that is like a fully computer generated influencer that is like built from scratch, fully animated.
The first time I heard of someone like that was definitely Lil Miquela
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Exactly. So
This is foreign to me. So like, what the fuck do you mean?
Check out virtualhumans.org. Our co-founder Christopher launched that probably 2.5-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Just documenting the entire space, interviewing virtuals in the space. So there's tons of pictures of him interviewing different virtual influencers, getting their perspective, asking them different questions. But yeah, essentially an influencer that's computer generated.
It's like AI.
I stalked the website pretty thoroughly before this, the Virtual Humans website,
Nice.
and I was just trying to figure out what you guys did because I'm interested in it. But
He was deep in your wallets and shit.
the virtual, I know. And then I was like looking at your NFT profile pictures on Twitter. I'm like, this is sick. But so on Virtual Humans, I was trying to figure out the difference between like, because I know like VTubers, which are basically like people that are wearing some kind of like motion capture thing. So it's like Eddie, but if
like
Eddie was like a
covered.
cartoon
Yeah.
basically on the screen. And then there's like AI virtual humans as well that are like fully autonomous, pretending to be human. And then there's these other kind of virtual humans that are like team run almost, like where it's like there's a collective of people all creating what this virtual human does on social media. And it's pretty interesting. Like, so what's kind of the difference there, and like what do you guys do?
So what we first did is like we launched some experiments, like here with some teams in Atlanta, not knowing a ton about CGI, to create some that were like kind of like photo-based virtual influencers. Some that were animated, some that were photorealistic.
Meaning like this virtual human fake person is posting photos on Instagram of
Exactly.
themselves
Exactly.
doing random things.
Exactly.
Similar to Lil Miquela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like very similar to
What is a
Lil
Lil Miquela story? I need to know at this point.
So Lil Miquela is a completely fictional character that was brought to life. Ended up raising the company behind it, Blood, ended up raising like $30 million from Sequoia and a lot of other major people, basically with the vision that they could build a either talent agency or like Marvel universe of synthetic characters.
Like Miquela can make songs.
has songs.
And she has songs,
Yeah.
and she can do this, and she can interview celebrities, and she can do this because she has a team behind her. She's like so multifaceted that like basically you follow her because of all the cool shit that she does, but really it's like a team orchestrating the whole thing. It's very weird.
And what we thought about a lot, like whenever you think about how this stuff works, is like take a step back and think about like the gorillas. right? The Gorillaz in a way is like a very early version of a virtual influencer where it's like this animated band. You got like 1-2 dudes behind it that are creating awesome music, but then you have like 5 characters inside of this band, each with their own names, each with their own personalities, creating music. And like that, these were the type of things we were studying. You then start taking that to the next level and look at like what's happened over the last few years. Like Marshmello
I was just
a
about to
really
say
cool
that.
example of a IRL virtual influencer. Who is Marshmello? Yes, you can Google it.
Chris
but like,
Comstock.
right? Like yes, you can Google it now.
Spoiler.
But it could be anyone, and
It could be anyone.
It could be
infinite, and he never dies.
And the
he's just
craziest
always
part is he
being-
has a huge ass audience in India because he's not a white person. He could be anybody. He's Marshmello. So like
Right.
other countries that wouldn't traditionally gravitate towards like a white American dude as their like idol for music are now embracing him because he's like a character, not just like a guy.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's
so like you
weird.
start thinking about building out these characters, and then like we just kind of took it to the next step. And then like we did the photo thing, and then like we studied Lil Miquela. We like Christopher built virtualhumans.org, like Bailey mentioned. And that allowed us basically to talk with every single other virtual influencer team, learn everything about the industry, help connect brands. It's how Mark Cuban ended up reaching out to us and investing into our company.
Oh, he reached out to you guys.
Yeah, he
That's
reached
dope. So what's that story?
Cold email.
literally
Cold email.
literally dropped in on
What
the
a good
contact
cold
form.
email.
Yeah, like literally dropped in on our contact form, and we were like, "This isn't real, right?" We were like, someone just dropped in his email address. We were like, "Well, I guess we'll respond." Though we respond, we were on a call like very shortly after he responded within
3 days
5
before
minutes.
Christmas last
Wow.
year.
Yeah,
In 2020, I guess.
Wait,
yeah,
before Christmas 2020.
yeah.
So
That's dope. And he responded in
16
5
months ago.
minutes.
He
That's
responded.
important.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's very responsive just in general. Like
I
we
heard he's
email
an
him-
animal texting and stuff. Like he was like
Yeah.
on his shit.
He is. I mean, yeah, like we'll usually like, email him and like, yeah, you're back within, anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, like most of the time. Unless, or sometimes it'll be like 2 hours because there's a game or something, right? But like, he's
That's
pretty,
sick though.
he
Like
doesn't
people
do-
always bitch about being so busy they can't respond to
Right?
things.
He doesn't do phone calls. He doesn't do things like this typically. Like
Yeah.
he is like, no,
In the moment
I am-
texting.
I am managing well over 100 businesses in my portfolio. Like if all of you want 30 minutes, a month, I have 0 time for anything else. So he just doesn't give anyone time like that. And what he'll do though is like he'll give a well thought out response in email. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But
Very interesting.
yeah, virtualhumans.org, we really had to start studying and seeing like what was working in the industry. And so like Lil Miquela is a great example of like this photorealistic, like human, kind of looks human.
At first
Like, we
glance, you
can-
think it's just a girl. You think it's
Right.
just an influencer girl. Or-
No way it's that good.
It's very
No,
good, dude. The
it's-
new Unreal Engine shit is insane,
So
and
this
that
is
wasn't even then. That was
Right.
this was what like 20.
she launched
15,
in 20,
16?
16, 17, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like this is Lil Miquela.
They just got acquired by Dapper Labs.
like if you saw that, you'd be like, oh, she has a filter on,
yeah.
but you wouldn't be like, that's a fake person.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
get it.
pretty wild.
Literally fake person right there. And so what
We'll
we
put it on
started
the screen.
seeing though is like, it's like doesn't really like here's her kissing her boyfriend. You
Yeah.
know,
Her virtual boyfriend.
but that's a
Her
real
also-
boyfriend.
Oh, it's a real boy.
Oh, it's the real guy.
It's a real guy.
That's wild.
And so they really do like a lot of like kind of like mind fuckery stuff with like the
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of content that they produce.
And like interacting with like celebrities and stuff like that. You're like,
Right.
I'm sitting courtside with Mark Cuban, and it's like, wait, what the fuck? He's involved
Right.
in this shit? Like he gives a fuck,
Right.
And then it just snowballs from there.
Right. But what we saw though was like Lil Miquela and a lot of the other examples, like they're not building true fandom. Like people, they're getting a lot of attention. Like they're getting a lot of attention online. They get a lot of PR. They get a lot of engagement. But most of the comments, if you go through it, aren't like, "Oh, I love you." It's more of like, "What is this? I'm still confused. Like
Yeah.
I'm confused." And it's like that's not building real true fandom, right? And so like what we started seeing though is like you mentioned VTubers, and VTubers are such a good example of how this stuff is done well. Where like I think 3rd most subbed Twitch streamer right now is a VTuber. A person.
Is it Code Miko?
Code
Or no?
Miko. Code Miko's not. No, it's a Iron Mouse. So Iron Mouse is now like pulling in $1 million a month as a VTuber.
Wow.
Just on Twitch through subs, and so
That's
it's
insane.
like that mentality. What we realized was like they're building a relationship with their fans every day, all day. It doesn't matter that they're not real because they're clearly not real. Whenever you're watching them, they're clearly not real. Lil Miquela, you got to wonder like, is this real? What's going on? Is it a company that's trying to like trick me? Is it like, what is this corporate entity that's building humans versus an animated character that could look stylized or could look completely 2D, like can actually, you can just get over the fact that it's not a real human because it's obvious it's not a real human. And then you just get into the content, into the story behind it.
It's like anime.
Yeah, it's like anime.
Cartoons growing up.
Yeah.
Watching cartoons.
And so that's where we pivoted. Like that's like what we're investing a ton of time, a ton of energy.
But these
a ton of
cartoons, to be
resources.
fair, are run by like one person, right? Typically,
Yeah.
like voiced by the same person. It's the
Right.
same person every time. So their personality is what's being
right now
highlighted, right?
Yeah, right now there's a lot of cool like tech being developed, like synthetic voice, actually like synthetic motion too, where like, you can like really just power a lot of this stuff. But yeah, like a lot of these VTubers and a lot of these characters are all powered through a voice actor, and so like that's like what we're doing. Like we've built the best real-time tech for this now. So we've spent the last year since we partnered with Mark to build out and develop like some really, really awesome like real-time tech to power VTubers that aren't 2D, but that actually like look real, have a ton of interaction like in the Unreal Engine, and in real time can have a conversation with you, can play games, can literally teleport around his bunker, like all kind of stuff. And so we launched Zero in February. Zero is the name of the virtual influencer. He's Zero from Nexus. And it's like we're basically our goal is to build out a full like entertainment universe. You mentioned my NFTs earlier. Like we're really big believers of that like whole world. That like if you look at virtual influencers specifically, there's like two ways of thinking about it. Like one is like a corporation is like building out these celebrities that are going to influence the children of the world, and it's not a super fun way of thinking about it. Like it's kind of dark if it actually works. There's a whole Black Mirror episode about it with a celebrity. The other side of it though is like, and this is where we like to lean and where we think about is like a community-led influencer, like a Web3 based influencer. And so like Zero, who we brought to life, like we're launching an NFT project called the Nexus universe, where there's going to be filled with these influencers, but the people that hold that NFT are going to be able to help us craft like what the next one looks like. What are they doing? What type of content are they creating? What's the lore? What's the backstory? Like, what are they doing? And, it's like the difference between that mentality versus the first one is so obvious from all of our tests and everything we've seen, where like we were a part of the Samsung Galaxy launch with Zero in February. And so he did a live stream with them, live shopping experience. It was like their best live shopping event they've done yet. And
what is live shopping exactly for people that don't know?
Yeah, good question. So it was like a live stream where it's like on stream, we brought a Samsung Galaxy phone into his virtual world, and he's talking about it and he's showing it off to people, and then someone could buy it like on screen. Right.
There's just a link right there, almost like a webinar where at the end there's like the buy.
Through which platform?
Bamboozer was our partner on that, and so we were doing that. But what was the most unique thing is like typically on an influencer deal like that, or someone's posting it on their Instagram or posting on their TikTok, you're going to have some comments that are like sell out, like you're giving up to the brands. You're going to get some negativity. Zero negativity.
Zero.
Like zero negativity here. Like none at all. Like everyone was like, this is dope. Zero got a partnership with Samsung. Everyone was so excited. And it's because of that community feel. They know our intentions with this project is to make this like a community-led influencer. And so Zero getting a partnership with Samsung is like, oh my God, like we're making it.
We all won. Yeah.
We all won. And that's, yeah. So that was a really long-winded answer on like our history and what we do. But that's it.
Dope, dude. That's dope.
Super sick.
It's like a whole part of the world that I'm like not anywhere as familiar as you guys are.
Yeah. One thing on your website that I thought was interesting, you guys have a virtual campus. Yeah. Do you guys work in the virtual campus ever, like actual work, or is it more just hanging out?
It's more hanging out, like happy hours. We did a comedy show in there. We've done many putt-putt and stuff, and we just use that as like a time to get together as a team.
How do you go into it?
Oculus headset, so everyone on the team has an
But
Oculus
is it in
headset.
VR chat or something? Or okay.
Yeah, so it's in VR chat. We built it in VR chat, and it's just a fun time to get together with people. We some people have gone in there and worked together, and you can't wait desks. We have screens and like tables to sit at and do that. But most time we utilize it right now for happy hour events and just
because I feel like they're trying to really like, especially like Zuckerberg and stuff. They're really trying to push this idea that we're all just gonna strap on headsets and work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey Susie, how's it going? Like, how are those reports? It's like that shit's not gonna happen. We're still gonna be at our desks and stuff, I think, for a while.
With a headset on though.
But when do you guys think the headset tech will be good enough that we're just strapping it on casually and just existing in the metaverse for like multiple hours?
Man, I've had a decent bit of interviews with some journalists around this, and I'm always like they want me to be the 26-year-old that's like, we're gonna be in VR next year full time, and like every time I'm like, I get no like motion sickness after 2 hours. Like,
Dude,
I'm
I
not
get motion
working.
sickness after 10 minutes.
Right.
Bro. I'm like about to puke. I'm like, yo.
Hanging out is really cool. Hanging out is fun, but like people aren't getting into VR right now to work, and it's years away. I don't know.
Decade,
the timing.
maybe.
I think there
Yeah,
might be
the BlackBerry
something that
stage.
snaps with it. Like there'll be something that really makes a lot of people adopt it. But I know last year the Quest sold better than than any other gaming system. They sold more than Xbox, I believe.
Yeah, but
like
they took a loss on every unit.
Yeah,
Did
of
they
course,
really?
of course.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You got to evaluate that. It's like, am I going to buy something?
it's $400 and $400. The Xbox, the cheap one is pretty
it
cheap.
$400?
The Xbox is cheap, dude. The
no.
Oculus Quest is cheap as fuck.
No, that's what I'm saying. Oculus, they were selling it at like 150 or 200. They
No,
weren't selling it at
They're
400.
selling 300.
they're like 300.
You guys sure?
Yes,
You guys know more than me, so I mean,
I have.
I
one.
just know for a fact they were selling it at a loss.
Yeah, they were selling it
Meta
at a
as a
loss, I
company.
believe,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like because they know the longevity of
Yeah,
getting
Right.
someone into VR, the
App Store.
the lifetime value. I almost said AOV. Lifetime value of that person is.
Yeah, and if you get someone in VR like with your headset, what are the chances they're going to change the entire? Like you might have them for life on that one headset.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll if I bought another headset, it would probably be an Oculus one, just because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it's good enough.
So you guys are doing some campaigns for McDonald's, you said, and like big brands like that. We're
Yeah.
Did
kinda
you guys
chatting
do the
about-
Peyton King video with McDonald's?
I was about to ask. Is that the spicy chicken one?
Because I showed you that because
Yeah.
I saw the screenshot on your website and I was like, I saw this one because it wasn't linked in the article. But I was like, I saw this one and I have to show it. I showed it to these guys and they were laughing so hard.
Yeah, that was in our recent campaign for the crispy chicken sandwich this year. So
Which, by the way, is actually fire, low key.
Yeah, it is. It is really good.
Like for the price that it's at compared to the other chicken sandwiches, I buy it all the time.
But the whole time we are like, how did this crazy video, this insane TikTok, how do you even pitch that to a McDonald's? Like where they're like, okay, so this guy's gonna do this crazy. Like you can't even pitch that video. He definitely like made it up as he went. You know what I mean? So like, how do you even? Do they kind of just go, Offbeat knows what the kids want. They have enough results. Then they just trust you.
I mean, we have to get everything approved, right? But like, that's it. Like, that is how we got McDonald's. They're like, we say it all the time. It's like being 25 and 26. Like, we're in one of the few industries when we walk in and talk to a 60-year-old CMO, they're like, damn, these guys probably get it because of our age, right? And like, that's why we got McDonald's. They were like trying to figure out TikTok. They just couldn't get the results they were looking for. And now we're one of their best partners on this. And it just came from, yeah, these guys get Gen Z culture. They've been making memes for how long? But yeah, you can speak more to that actual campaign and like partner with that guy and how we do it.
yeah, just I mean, we pitched McDonald's on a bunch of different creative ideas, creative directions, and they give us the authority to make decisions, and obviously has to get approved by legal and some different requirements, fit different requirements. But creators know best, and creatives and our creative team knows best when it comes to those types of activations. That's why they hire us. So they just kind of trusted us on that, and that video in particular is one of our best performing videos of the campaign, and definitely paid off. So
what does that process look like? Walk us through, like, you pitch McDonald's or they came to you?
yeah, that particular one, we had a conversation with them, and then
Does Mark help you get all these like bigger clients?
That was inbound. But no, they came to us and we had a conversation with them, and then they came to us a few weeks later and said, hey, we had this RFP for the crispy chicken sandwich last fall, and we pitched them on some different ideas, knocked that campaign out of the park, and they came back to us and said, hey, we have this campaign for 2022. We'd love to work with you on it. Came back to us with a new RFP for 12 months, and
What's RFP?
Request for proposals.
Yeah. Nice. So pitched them on that, and now we're transitioning and trying to get more ingrained in some different campaigns with them as well. Since I had a really successful first launch of the first pulse this year, and have a few smaller pulses we're working on, and then have a big back end of the year with them as well already planned out. So
Yeah.
Okay, so like let's just say deal's done, right? Process there. Your creative team comes up with the concepts and picks what creators, and then pitches the concepts to the creators. Like what's that workflow like?
Yeah, so we come up with creative concepts, and we also come up with like a long list of influencers that we think would be great for the activation. Present that long list and creative ideas to McDonald's. They'll come back and say, okay, we these are our top 5 picks. These are ones that we don't want to work with. These are ones that we might be open to working with. And then we go back and go pitch to creators. Hey, this is an activation we'd love to partake with you all on. And we start pitching them on that, come to agreement whether they want to participate or not, and then go back to McDonald's and say, hey, here's our creative brief, here's our script for these influencers. They approve that, we film it, go back to them with the videos, more approval processes, and then we launch the campaign. So
how are you tracking all this? Like, how our results track? We were kind of chatting about this, and you were tracking actual foot traffic into McDonald's, cost per person walking into McDonald's. Like, how is this going down?
Yeah, so we're using tracking foot traffic with Foursquare. So just impression tracking on the back end with paid media on TikTok's ad platform. But we can actually measure, okay, well, this campaign averaged 12 cents or 15 cents or whatever that number might be for each person going into the store. So there's an organic side of it, which is just the influencers post on their channel, which you can't put an impression tracking pixel on that. But when we run the paid media portion of the campaign behind it, we can install that pixel and actually track those results on the back end. So
how are you uploading that data to TikTok to figure out who walked in based on their impressions?
It's a TikTok pixel.
Yeah.
So we have an integration with TikTok.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I'm saying I watched an ad. Cool. Step one.
Yeah.
Step two, I a week later drove through a drive-through and
Oh, you're talking about how wild this gets? So like we're not doing that, right? It's Foursquare, but like we do understand, and it's kind of creepy and kind of wild. But it's like as soon as you walk into a McDonald's, like if you have Bluetooth on, your phone is pinged.
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, like you're being pinged of like you're in a McDonald's, and they can usually track your actual did you buy something? Which that's not a world we're doing. Like we're more of seeing like did someone come in? Like did they come in and do?
Did they walk in the door? Because if they're walking in the door of McDonald's, 9 times out of 10,
really, if they're in the parking lot, they're getting tracked.
Unless they're
right. And so that's what we're able to track. So because of that pixel then walked in, then we're able to see like cool, they're here, and now we can retarget them later.
Okay, and that's through Foursquare.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they used to be more like a review kind of site, right? YYelp kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they just pivoted into that type of tech.
Yeah, they have all kind of different ways that they get the data. That's one of the ways. They also still do Google reviews. I think they have a partnership, I believe, with Facebook. So like if you pull up Facebook and like while you're in there too, like boom, that gets you.
Dude, that's how these. I mean, it's an easy pivot for them. Like Yelp
Yeah,
and them.
no,
like,
it makes
they
so
already
much
have
sense.
the geo-targeting down.
No, it makes perfect sense.
They're just using it for different things.
Yeah, I know. I just never really like thought about the fact that they were doing that on the other side.
Yeah, like whenever. Like,
but they gotta make
a lot of apps and websites. You don't know what they're doing on the other side.
You're the you think you're the customer, but really you're the
So
data.
McDonald's, even with their huge budgets, they're not just like shooting a campaign and basing it on engagement strictly.
Correct.
They're
No,
actually going deep enough to see how much foot traffic they
That's
get
wild.
into their stores.
That's what we're graded on. They're like, great, you over delivered on impressions, awesome, but how many people do we drive in? You know, like that's it. And it is.
What's a
insane
good
when you think
percent
about
for that? Like, what would be a good metric for them to be like pumped about?
There's a lot of different brand lift we look at, new customers, because obviously it's a lot easier to get returning customers in there. I forget the metrics off the top of my head, but there's like a benchmark for the QSR space that we kind of measure off of and say like, okay, our campaign performed above this, had more brand lift, had a lower cost per visitor in there. But there's certain metrics I don't remember them off the top of my head.
Like, how the fuck do you even get a new customer for McDonald's?
Right?
My mom's eating McDonald's.
I know. I'm like, I've gone to McDonald's like 3 times in the past like month. I'm not even gonna lie.
I haven't went to McDonald's in the last like couple of years until they became a client, right?
Wow.
And then it's like now I'm like, oh hell yeah, this crispy chicken sandwich is awesome. But I hadn't went for a while before, and now it's like yeah, like I'm gonna go, but it's like those are like people like me are like that's who they're tracking. Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it wild that you guys are just working with McDonald's? Like one of the biggest brands in the if you think about one of the most international, most recognizable brands, McDonald's has got to be at the top of the list. You know, is that wild for you guys?
It's fascinating. It's really interesting. I mean, if you asked me that when I was 15 years old, I'd tell you you're crazy. It's really hard sometimes. Like we want to go fast, we want to go faster, and it's like sometimes we don't actually take a step back and look at that. But like Shep put together a big review deck for 2021. For last year, and kind of took a step back and look at, okay, we're working with McDonald's, working with Samsung, brands that like I would never imagine that we would have worked with if you told me that 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, would say you're crazy. And it's just, it is awesome. It's to look at and see where we're at now. So
it's been one of those things like for us, I think it's been somewhat of a natural progression. Like it wasn't like, as you guys can imagine, and you guys know, it's like nothing's an overnight success, right? And so it's like we do get to work with these awesome big brands now, but it's like we spent 2 years working deep in the music industry, and we worked with every major record label. We've worked with every major artist you can name probably, and that was what started conditioning us too. It was like, oh my god, like we're working with The Weeknd. Wait, what? We got a campaign for Post Malone. We got a campaign for Drake. This is crazy, right? We're doing meme campaigns. We're doing TikTok campaigns for them, and then like it slowly started transitioning to, well, we're killing it for this entertainment marketing. Netflix wants to work with us. Oh my god, we're working with Netflix. This is nuts. And then that like taking all those playbooks is like how we started saying, like, we understand culture. Like, we've been deep in culture for the last couple of years. Like, we understand like the influencers because we've been paying them for the last couple of years. We understand the content. Like, and then we started working with the McDonald's, the Samsungs, the DoorDashes, the Cheesecake Factories. That it was one of those that, to your point, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it was absolutely nuts. But it took us a while to start closing those deals. We
How do you get those deals?
So McDonald's, like you mentioned, it was outbound, but like what's really interesting, like we are the best at what we're doing in virtual influencers and virtual humans. So we reached out to McDonald's saying, hey, virtual Ronald McDonald will be sick. We reached out to them and we're like, hey, we should talk about this. And they're like, how do you guys do this stuff? And like, because we're really damn good at TikTok. And like that's a lot of our end is like we've got virtualhumans.org. It's tens and tens of thousands of marketers coming to it every month. They're dropping in our contact form all the time. But then also when we're having conversations with brands like this, we're talking about innovation. Like we're typically talking to people that want to be that sexy, cool marketer, and we're telling them how they can be doing things with virtual influencers, how they can be doing things with NFTs, how they could be doing things in Fortnite, whatever that is, or how they could be doing things in augmented reality. But they're going to have less budget for that. They're going to have less spend for that. And we do get clients for things like that. But then they're like, these guys get it. You know, this team gets it. And that opens up doors for whenever they are looking for TikTok, where we make sure we always talk about, but you know, our background, the reason we understand virtual influencers is because we understand TikTok so well, you know, understand TikTok influencers so well. And we have all these deep relationships.
TikTok's just the pulse of the culture basically right now.
Right. And
everyone's TikTok.
So then like Bailey said, it's like, we'll have conversations like that. And then, a few weeks later, they're like, we do have a TikTok campaign coming up. We should at least get them to give us a proposal. And it works.
That's sick.
That's dope. So most of it's outbound originally. Like you guys are emailing them or doing something to get to them.
That right? Was most of it comes through partners.
Yeah.
Most of our work or inbound.
What do you mean through partners?
So like we have a good bit of agency partners that are like,
we can connect you with this person or whatever.
Or like the biggest media agencies in the world. Like we spent a while like going after those through like getting introductions or going outbound. And like those are the people that are controlling hundreds of millions of bucks. And they'll come to us and say, hey, we don't have a clue how to do this for a client, or we don't understand TikTok as well. We got a $250,000 budget to do a quarter-long TikTok campaign. Can you guys give us a proposal for that? And so like once we started learning that like we could go after these holding companies and like these bigger media agencies that were working with basically every dream brand in the world.
They're just kind of legacy media brands at this point, pretty much.
Or media agencies. Yeah. So like they're, you know, like OMD, or Starcom. Starcom is McDonald's media agency. And, you know, they're managing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of media, and they got to figure out how they're best going to allocate that media. Well, we're going to be one of those partners. And like that's what we're trying to do. So we're going to someone that's like got McDonald's and Ford and GMC and Samsung and like whatever clients.
You're not going straight to McDonald's. You're going to the guys deciding what to do with the McDonald's budget that's already closed.
Well, that's what we started out by doing. Yeah. So we started out there. So like McDonald's came through an agency, but then it was like once you start getting those, then we're now, you know, we're working with DoorDash and Cheesecake Factory and Samsung direct. And that was because we're working with McDonald's. We are working with them direct, but it's through their agency. So
you guys seem like you're really good at like looking around the corner of like what's next, and then not only just like predicting what's gonna happen, but just like poking the universe and like seeing what happens. Like you guys are like doing stuff that people aren't even thinking about, you know? Like how do you guys feel like you're always kind of moving that one step ahead? Like no one's taking advantage of the fact that someone will eventually want this username on Instagram or.
And why the fuck is your username Grady?
That's my last name.
Oh, it's your last name.
Yeah. He was like, I think his name, he was like, wait, his name's Bailey? I thought his name was Grady. Like, it was, we were like, wait.
I'm like, what? Okay, we need to do some digging here and figure this out. I know Shep's good. Like, I know that.
That's so funny.
That's funny. I didn't know it was your last name.
That's so funny. But
yeah, it's Grady, and then it's Bailey right under it says Bailey, and then on your wallet, what was it?
Yeah, on your Twitter, it's something else or something.
Oh, it's
right?
my dog's name.
Like, dude, come on, make it easy on us.
On my profile picture on my NFT, it's my dog's name. I think
that's so funny. Yeah.
Oh my
no, because it was just like Shep.eth, and you're like something else. Yeah. I'm like, he's got like five names.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny. But anyways,
are you guys into NFTs?
I mean, I follow it a lot. I'm not like a huge holder of NFTs. Do you have any NFTs?
No, I was gonna get in on a few, but I
have one that's a ticket to something. Like, so I literally like got it as a ticket to access a real event. But
Nice.
yeah, but
My friends are deep in the NFT game. I just like
It moves incredibly fast.
too fast for me sometimes.
Like, things will go up like tens of thousands of dollars, and then the next day they're back down. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, it absolutely flies. Like, well, what I'm trying to spend most of my time is just like, if I'm going to buy one, I'm going to hopefully buy like a blue chip good project that's just going to be good for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've definitely tried trading, and it's impossible.
Which is what my friends do. And like for me, like I have to give a full day of attention span every day to do that.
Right.
I don't have that kind of time. Like
Right.
I might be tied up for 7 hours.
It's
And
kind of like day trading.
it's too late. Like even with crypto when it crashed, like 4 years ago, like the big, was it 2017? Was that?
Yeah.
When it was?
2018.
Yeah. So I was in Thailand. It was in January. I was in Thailand and like same situation. I was on a boat, no signal, like 5 hours. Came back, half my money's gone. Like my entire life savings just disappeared. And like 100 messages. Get out, get out, get out. Cause I was like at the time I was like the guy posting about crypto all the time. Like everyone's like, oh, what the fuck is this? I'm just gonna buy whatever Eddie's buying. You know what I mean? Like no one was doing it. And then everyone's like,
tough.
I hope you got out. I'm like, fuck, it's too late. So like that experience haunts me. And like for NFTs and stuff like this, I'm like, if I'm not like able to just be attentive and stop and pull something out or sell it or trade it or whatever it is, like it's kind of like too volatile for me to play the game right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, NFTs are crazy because they're super illiquid, right? Like it's absolutely wild. Whereas like at least with cryptocurrency, you can just sell it on the fallout. But like if people stop buying NFTs,
You literally have no buyers.
you literally have zero buyers. So like if that 100 ETH NFT, if like no one's buying it, like you just
It's over.
screwed.
Zero
Yeah.
ETH right there.
You're like, I have this ugly Lamborghini that no one wants. Fuck. Like you have this
Right.
thing that's just so expensive and no one will buy it.
It is really interesting though because it's like Bored Ape Yacht Club is such a fascinating thing. Where it's like I don't envisioning it plummeting
I agree with that one.
I agree.
because of the people in it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I,
it.
I agree with
It's
that one.
there's only 10,000 Bored Apes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's 20,000 mutants, and like there's so few where like
And celebrities own them, and like it's a thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
then
became- it's
they're
a thing for sure.
they're investing into that IP now. Like there's so many different groups that are buying Bored Apes that are now making them musicians and putting them into and then ApeCoin just launched, and they're like they just raised $1 billion. Like I don't know how it goes down, and it's just fascinating because I didn't think that six to 12 months ago. I didn't think that was going to be that way.
I think the projects like CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, like those are going to be like a staple for a long
Yeah.
time. The question is like outside of those like 5 projects,
There's been a lot of fallouts.
a lot,
Oh,
like
yeah.
99%.
It'd be like .com, right?
Or the ICO
Yeah.
phase in 2018.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you throw a couple $1,000s. I mean, I did that plenty of times. And I looked at my wallet. I was like, this is worth 10 cents now. This is great.
Yep.
Dude, I bought a shit coin after my wedding. I've spent $10K on it. It's worth like $200 right now.
Yeah, I've had a few of those. Not
I'm like,
fun.
I'm glad I didn't, do this more. Like I forgot about it. You know what I mean? But I think that space is definitely going to be crazy. I think the utility on the back end of the contracts is like
so fast.
what's going to hold it. Even like the Gary V's
Vee
project.
Friends.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing like what? Like
Dude, those things are
10X
so fucking
since they came
ugly
out?
that when I saw them,
it's
like
just a fish, right?
dude, it's literally just hand drawn little stupid drawings. And dude, when I first saw it, like I remember he was like, get at least 1 ETH in your MetaMask. I swear to you guys. Like he was like hitting it so hard. I'm like, these things are about to be sick. And then they drop and they're like these little stick figures and shit. I'm like, people are really about to pay this much, and of course they did.
And now it's worth 10x, bro. Like,
Oh,
what?
I think a lot more than that.
A lot more than
like,
that.
I mean,
It's
it's
crazy.
crazy how well those have done. And
Like
and it goes back to
$2,000
How does
ones
the utility transfer? Like, because weren't they all the whole thing? Like, you get to go to the Jets game with Gary Vee and stuff. Like, once you use that, the next holder doesn't get to do that, do they?
Yeah, no, I think he just keeps adding. Like it's literally like he'll just host an event and it's like only them get to come. Like he's doing a whole I think like conference.
He's doing
Yeah,
it
he's
like
doing
Just for
every
Vee
year.
Friends holders.
3 conferences next 3 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, so you're
Yeah.
trying to provide value with it because like you're gonna pay $1,000, $2,000 to get at this conference. It's like okay, at least the value of buying this NFT, you at least get to go to this conference for free. It's gonna be a multi-million-dollar concert or conference that he puts on. So
He said he's going to lose money on the project.
Yeah.
Damn.
Vee Friends.
After
I mean,
After the conferences?
yeah,
yeah, after the conferences. He says like each conference is going to cost me like $15 million. If you take out my $80 million, remove the taxes from it, all the the project management, all these things, it's not going to be like this $40 million pocket thing that people are thinking that it is.
I love that he says that. I love that he says that though, but then I was like, he just did an NFT launch like last week. Do you remember what it was? It was like a sports NFT launch. For,
another one?
Yeah, like a different one that they did like 30 to 60 million in a day. So it's like because of who he is and because of what he's doing.
Does he have?
Right,
it's insane,
right. It's absolutely
bro.
nuts. But it's like, yeah, I lost. I'm going to lose 10 million on this, but you guys just gave me 40 on this, so it's going to.
He'll be okay.
Out.
He's doing okay.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. I respect, dude. That guy's.
Yeah, he's killing it.
I'm trying to get on his level one day.
Yeah, no, he's killing it. It's pretty cool.
So where's the biggest like I guess future for Offbeat? Like where are you guys leaning heavily to? I know we talked about a bunch of things, influencers, fake people online. What's it called?
Virtual humans.
Virtual humans. Like there's like so many aspects, right? You guys have a team of 40 now.
Yeah.
It's all remote.
Yeah, or close to 45. There's like how many in Atlanta? 15, 20?
25 in Atlanta.
Oh, there's a lot in Atlanta, but they're remote.
Yeah. They're all remote.
There's no office.
We have 2 production studios.
We have 4 desks in there, but it's like it's a co-working space that people go in the office and just work for the day or can have meetings and stuff. But
is it near the WeWork? Like where is it?
It's near Sweetwater, right across the street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're like district.
It's not a typical
concert venue.
It's not a typical shared like co-working space. It's like a shared space. So it's like there's like maybe 15 offices in there, and then there's like a ton of.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Does it have a coffee spot in the front of it, or is that a different?
It's down the street from the coffee one that's on that road. But
yeah, nice.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's crazy that we met through like that app.
Yeah,
they brought them in to like do influencer campaigns to moms. We met at Chipotle.
Which we never did any campaigns like that. We were gonna try to figure it out at that time,
I'm
but
glad
like,
we didn't.
Yeah,
that long story short,
helped the whole we understand Gen Z thing.
Yeah. But like maybe like 3 weeks after I met you guys, I went to them, and I'm like their marketing guy that they hired. Right at the time, like I didn't have like employees and shit. It was just me like freelancing a bunch of different businesses, and they were one of them. And I came to them. I was like, this is going to be a very like audacious thing to do, but I think it's very important and it's in the best interest of the owners. And I went and I sat them all down. It was like our Monday marketing meeting for the week. And I drew out the business finances, not related to marketing. I was like, we have this much cash left. You're paying yourself this salary. You're paying yourself this salary. You're paying. This is the business owner. So like, obviously they took offense to this, but like, this is the reality. I'm like, on top of you 3 making this salary, you're paying developers this much for Samsung app and this much for Apple app every month. I was like, according to our numbers, you guys are working, some of you guys are working like full-time jobs and you're paying yourself a full-time salary. If you do that and you don't remove the Samsung developer costs out of this, we're out of business in 3 months. I was like, if you remove this and fix this, we have 18 months runway to figure this out. And it's a much more reasonable approach. They're like, okay, like they're kind of questioning some of the things I was saying. I'm like, I'm still doing the marketing stuff. I'm just telling you guys, like, realistically, this is probably a, very serious conversation to have between each other. Do whatever you want. Anyways, they fired me. Not in that week in that meeting, and they shut down in 2.5 months. I was right. But crazy story. So it's crazy that you guys didn't even work with them. I'm not gonna like name who it is, whatever. But
yeah.
But it was crazy. Now we're friends. Like we still message each other all the time. I'm sure they're like, this fucking child was right. But it's just pretty cool how that was like the only long-term thing that came out of that for me was like some sort of connection with you guys in reality, besides experience, obviously.
Which was so funny because we literally just went to Chipotle. Because that was, I don't know, we just got an office at Atlanta Tech Village, and we're just figuring things out still. Like this was probably pre-working with TikTok too. It was like right around that October whenever we started seeing some growth.
You guys were working with TikTok like around that time?
Right after.
It was like a month after.
That's a long time ago. Bro.
Yeah.
Like you said, that was like before you guys even like download the app and stuff.
Dude, I've never even heard of the app at the time.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing the first ads and being like, the fuck is this?
And I was
like, oh, it's formerly Musically. And I was like, ew.
Exactly.
Gross.
Is so fascinating, their journey of like how they went from that to like my girlfriend, like the last 3 years since we've promoted TikTok is like, no, not downloading it. Like, it's not great. But she's like, I'm not downloading it. And then like, I don't know, 6 months ago, she's like, I'm just gonna try it. And she loves it. Like just absolutely loves it once she got over that hump of like, you know, I don't want to download it and just absolutely.
And I think there was a weird level of like people thinking that they're like too mature. They're like, nope, that's for kids. That's weird. There's children dancing on that app. I'm an adult. I cannot be seen on this godforsaken app.
Then the algorithm just became like so good, where it's like it's just not like that, right?
It
is if you watch this video,
bro. You know, it's
funny when like older men are like, all I see is like women shaking their ass on TikTok.
So yes, because
like,
you watch those and you like those.
You like
know
them
why?
and you comment. Dude, you know what's funny? Last night we were joking. My brother was like, dude, every time I try to leave TikTok and I accidentally swipe a certain way, it always brings up some girl shaking her ass. I'm like, bro, it's their last ditch attempt to just keep you on for any line. They're like, he's leaving. Throw the ass. Throw the tits. Keep him on. It was so funny because it was true. He like tried to show me. He's like, look, whenever I do this, and it was just showing a regular video of this chick twerking, and I'm like, are you serious? This is hilarious. It was so funny.
That's funny.
The algorithm will get you.
Do you guys
Dude,
use,
the
you guys
algorithm
use
is nuts.
TikTok like actively, like to consume content?
Scroll in there to find new creators, people to work with. I try to stay off it from just
Only
like
for work though.
Yeah, I tried to stay off it
Yeah.
from scrolling at 2 a.m. in the morning, but I mean, my fiance will send me dog videos or like we'll get recipes
All
from
the
there and
time.
stuff. So
You find your way back on. The best thing that I think they've done recently is being able to save in different categories like Instagram has.
Yeah.
You know, you can like save stuff to different collections. Because I'm like, I want to save these TikToks, but like some of them are like stupid humor, and then some of them are like actually useful things that I want to remember. Like this Photoshop tutorial, I don't want it like mixed in with like a fart joke. You know, so like now you can like sort them, and I'm like, this is kind of sick.
I can't get into it personally. It's just hard for me because I'm very selective in what I want to watch. And so like I would rather go down like 100 headlines on YouTube and pick the one that is a good fit for me as opposed to being fed shit.
So what's interesting though is like this is why my girlfriend Kate actually really loves it. She was spending, I don't know, let's say an hour a day on social media across all social media apps, and she didn't like that she was spending that much time on social media. And then
Which is not a lot.
She wasn't doing a ton. She didn't like she was doing that much. But then she downloaded TikTok, and she really enjoys TikTok. And her time went down to like 35 minutes. But why? The reason why is because she was just like scrolling Instagram and Facebook, being fed,
Trying to find stuff
that sucked. And it's just like everything's just like I don't care. Where TikTok, after she spent 2 days on it, it's like she gets her dopamine from that app within like 7 minutes. It's like she'll just get like layered 100 videos. 90 of them are like, yeah, this is good. This like I am glad you gave me this video. And then she's like, cool, I'm done. I'm off of social media. I got my break. And it's been interesting to see like her get into an app and it lower her overarching like usage time.
Eddie's gonna go re-download it tonight and get it.
I know, right? I'm like, all I need is 2 days. If I can get past the 2 days, you know,
Yeah, it trains.
Yeah.
Because like I don't really follow anyone on my account, right? So like, and I haven't really engaged with too many videos. So like my algorithm's a shit show, right?
Mine is like
Right.
all funny stuff, and my ex, hers is all like recipes and shit like that. And sometimes when we'd be like wanting to watch TikToks together, she'd be like, can we go on your TikTok? Yours is funnier. Like, because like her
Yeah.
TikTok was always like girly shit, and we were scrolling. I'm like, dude, your TikTok sucks.
So from your focus standpoint, like, are you guys more focused on paid or organic on TikTok, or both?
Both, because organic. I mean, companies want organic. They want that organic approach, working with influencers, but also like McDonald's, they want to back it with data, so we can scale and have measurable results. So it's a mixture.
And that's the only reason. It's not for increased reach. Like from that standpoint, it's like
Definitely.
to be more trackable.
Yeah, it's both. It's a mixture of both. So they can hit a new audience, they can re-hit audience multiple times, higher frequency, but also be able to track the data on top of it. So,
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. These companies have like so much data analysts just running through this kind of data. Like even billboards in a metropolitan area, like what's our lift in this area, and like they're so specific about everything that they spend.
Going back to like how we talked about Foursquare earlier, like that was the first time I heard about this, like billboards, like digital billboards inside like malls and whatnot. I met a guy like 2.5 years ago that works here in Atlanta on a really large digital billboard network, and he's like, yeah, you walk into a mall, and that ad on that digital display is going to be the most primed ad for the 10 people surrounding that.
No way.
No way.
No way. No way.
That's what he said.
Dude.
Yeah.
No way. No
He
way.
sells that media.
Dude.
Yeah,
dude.
And that's like whenever I started learning about this stuff is that it'll ping everyone's phone. It'll see who the audience is, like what's their
advertising ID and
this was pre
iOS.
No, pre this was like 2 years ago. This was pre the new I can't think of what it's called right now. GDPR.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
like compliance of like
it was
privacy.
pre all the compliance around this. I don't know how well that's working to date. But yeah, like they would look at like the audience of 20 people and be like, oh, this is a female audience. They're gonna be way more likely to want to go into this female clothing store versus these cookies or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, like really, really interesting. That's like kind of what gave us the foundation whenever we started learning about like Foursquare. It was like, oh, that's how they're doing this.
There's like IRL data right here. That's working right now.
Everywhere. Yeah. And like I've got a friend that runs a survey app basically that like you can take surveys on it and you can get paid for it. And like one of the things that like they'll do is like they will get you to basically say, cool, you can have my tracking data. And then whenever you walk by a CVS or walk by a Walmart, you'll get a ping that's like, hey, come inside and do this and you can get $3. And it's like, it's all based on like, them being able to track you where you're going like 24/7 basically. But then like what he's also able to do is like now he has your 24/7 data. And so he's able to, he's able to give that to like, oh, well, you did go into the CVS, so that's probably valuable to Walgreens.
It's crazy where we're at, bro.
Yeah.
From an advertising perspective and a data perspective.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like we've gotten more refined, but we've also gotten more saturated and diluted because there's so much more consumption. Like people are consuming 1,000 things a day versus like 20 things a day. So while the data is better, it's still kind of like proportional to the fact that like competition's way higher and way wider and way more widespread. Like from a shopping standpoint, you can't buy 100 things every single fucking day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So even if they're all targeting you the right way, it's kind of hard to buy. But like 5 years ago, you used to see like the same thing multiple times a day or multiple days back to back, and you're like, okay, cool, this is probably something I want to buy. Now you see like my wife just texts me the word stroller, and then every fucking ad on every platform is a stroller. TikTok strollers, Facebook strollers, Instagram strollers. She's like, dude, she'll like whenever my wife wants to shop something, she'll like WhatsApp it to me. She'll be like, I really want to buy a stroller, like capital letters, and then she'll get on Instagram and hit her stories and just start swiping to get the ads. And she'll be like, oh, that one's sick, screenshot. Oh, I've never seen that one before. And she'll like intentionally just
get stroller
use it as like a search engine between
insane.
WhatsApp and Instagram.
That's insane.
So it's crazy that like the level of data you're talking about, this is years ago. And this is like to the public. Imagine like what the government has and like how insane that shit is. They know more about me than my wife does, probably.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they know literally everything. It's absolutely insane.
So where's the future going?
Yeah, you asked. So, like, to boil all of our story down earlier, too, is like we view our company as, like, kind of like 3 different divisions, right? We've got an enterprise team or an agency that, like, kind of capitalizes on all the opportunity that comes off the others and, like, helps these brands figure out how to navigate the space, like we've talked about a lot. We've got a digital content studio that's, like we said, has about 10 shows that we're producing out of. Reaches how many impressions a month?
100 million plus at least.
Yeah, 100 million impressions a month?
Yeah, on our content.
Yo, that's fucking insane.
And this is all shot content. It's not like digital content. Like it's not like you're animating the stuff, or is some of it animated?
No. So this is all either shot or licensed.
Gotcha.
Licensing from creators, licensing from funny videos.
And how are you monetizing that?
Primarily through platform partnerships like YouTube, Snapchat, et cetera. Like they're running the ads, and then we're just getting the media. So it is paid impressions, but
okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, and then
I was
and
like,
then
holy fuck, 100 million organic impressions off shows, like that's stupid.
What do you mean?
Like Mr. Beast is what I'm imagining.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it though. That's
but no ads, right? Like just
no with ads.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like
he's saying without the ads are playing on the videos, but he's saying without paying for the impressions.
No, they are.
They're
organic. They're paid impressions. They're having partnership with Snapchat. And Snapchat's promoting.
Oh.
Right?
It's kind of not paid though.
On. We have an organic. We have 10 organic shows that get 100 million organic impressions, and then these just like you're thinking like a Mr. Beast would get that type. Like we're getting 100 million monthly impressions, and then the platforms we're partnered with are selling ads on top of those impressions.
Okay. So they are organic impressions.
Yeah, some of them aren't branded or monetized like TikTok. We can get 50 million views on TikTok in a month that they're not paid.
Yeah.
Where you're in the creator fund and you make pennies on the dollar on it. But some of them are definitely, a lot of them are branded or monetized.
You should look into Twitter
YouTube
right now. Twitter ads on videos are a lot. Twitter people are making way more money than YouTube people right now.
Yeah,
Crazy.
they are.
And you guys know that space.
Yeah, we've looked at it.
It's good in Q4. It's cyclical. Q1 numbers, I know we do some stuff on Twitter with the pre-roll ads and stuff, but it's been cyclical at least.
So how the fuck did you get to 100 million views?
Posting content across all platforms and figuring out what works and what works in the vertical format. So
100 million monthly views.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Dude, my fucking head
but
is
again,
exploding.
Are some of the shows you're acquiring, like you find these new people, or are they all original?
No, so
you guys are
usually we'll find like talent that we see them creating some sort of content on the internet, and we'll say, hey, we want to create a show with you, or hey, you want to come be our host. So that's how typically it works, and then we repurpose or we get them to create content for us. We cut it up, we produce it, give them scripts, stuff like that, and then we cut it up, chop it up, and put it on TikTok, YouTube.
So how do you guys feel about like a Call Her Daddy situation or a Channel 5 situation, like All Gas No Break situation, where these people like Alex Cooper, Sophia Franklin, they create a show on Barstool. They get approached after the very first episode of them making the podcast, Call Her Daddy. They invented it. Barstool gives them tons of money as far as equity. They own the show, but they pay them a salary. In 2 years, do you do what they did and kind of let them go and take their show their own way, because it's them at the end of the day, and if they go create another show, they're just gonna call it something like how do you guys navigate that? Because at the end of the day, it is like the person that a lot of people are in it for, and then you as Offbeat, like the audience doesn't have a relationship with Offbeat, they have a relationship with this person. So
we only have a couple shows like that.
Gotcha.
And like actually like Excuse Me What, we just like kind of transitioned off to our host, and it was like we had a really strong relationship. Like we take care of our people basically. Like we take care of our hosts, and like Luke loved working with us. He's just got a ton of opportunity in front of him as a comedian, and so he's going to do his own thing. So he just literally helped us replace himself.
Gotcha.
But we only have a couple shows out of the 10 that have like a very strong presence around the host. And think about why we're building virtual influencers, right? It's like because of these stories, like because of what happened on Channel 5. Because
it makes so much sense.
Call Her Daddy.
Because people are like, people will fail you know what I mean? Like you idolize an artist for so long, and then something crazy happens or comes out, and you're like, wow, this person's actually super shitty, but I still love their music. This sucks, you know? And it's like if there's almost like, if this person was almost already starting off at a level of like immortality where they're not a real person, that's, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's just really interesting.
That situation is tough because you can see it from both sides. You can see it from the creator side where they think they should have all of it and they created the brand, they created the fandom. But then you can also see it from the Barstool side or the Channel 5 side, or I guess previous Channel 5 partner.
Doing things.
Yeah. And they've built a phenomenal brand and have an awesome audience. And would Call Her Daddy and would All Gas No Breaks have gotten there without them? My vote would have been probably not. Especially not as quickly with those names and voices. So really, there's both sides of the story, and it's really hard to. Can't pick a side on either of them. It's just unfortunate situation. That's why, like Shep said, we try to take care of our people and avoid situations.
And invest in virtual humans.
Yeah, I mean, but seriously though, like you think about this, like we went very heavy. We've tried a couple of like persona or like personality driven shows, and like Excuse Me What did really well with Luke as a host. Like he got around 1 million total subscribers and followers across everything. And it did really well. But like a lot of our other shows, like they're just formats. Like we don't need the same host for an episode. So it's like people are following it because it's just like the same format every single time. But then it's like then there's no risk.
Yeah.
You just give them the same content.
And you guys were talking about, you know, figuring out what works in a vertical content space. That was something that like I was super interested in early on. And then you see a platform like Quibi launch.
Yeah.
And lose billions.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had you guys at the helm, they probably would have figured it out.
I reached out to so many people. I mean, like it like let's talk about we went deep into TikTok strategy about infiltrating in culture. Quibi's like we are culture, and it's like you literally won't let anyone take a screenshot on your app to make a meme. They literally blocked it. If you took a screenshot, it gave you a black screen so that you couldn't take any of their content anywhere. And so I'm like doing everything I can to get in touch with the exec team at Quibi, and I'm like, you guys do realize that no one can share anything on your platform. How are you supposed to be talked about by anyone?
It's kind of like the MLB. No one talks about the MLB because they have such hard licensing requirements on all platforms. And it's like, you're not being talked about on the internet.
You have
You're
like
irrelevant.
people, you have people like
exist.
Bob
Yeah.
Menery that
Yeah.
are like commenting on your stuff, and then and ultimately making people watch it more. I think, and then
Exactly.
they come out and ban you.
Yeah.
You know, ask them to take it down. It's stupid.
Yep.
But to wrap that up, though, is like we got the agency, we got the content studio, and then there's a virtual human side, and like that's like really right now it's getting off its legs, and like we're building out. We got our first virtual influencer that's in real time, Zero. Our goal is to build that Nexus universe into this whole like entertainment brand where
So the Nexus universe would be a bunch of virtual humans all
Yeah.
in the same universe. They can interact. They can do things together.
yeah, exactly. So think about it like almost like a Marvel universe, right? Like where our goal is that like the community is going to help us tell a really cool story, and like we're hiring writers right now. Like they're going to be basically giving the community like options of like how this story can unfold. But like what's really unique and really interesting is you can also come and hang out with Zero on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. So it's like maybe once a month, once every other month, there's like this whole like cinematic episode of like how these characters are interacting, like the next one coming to life, and it's like this big moment for the Nexus universe. But then in the day to day, you know, you can just go and hang out with Zero.
So how's the community voting? What's that process like? Like how do they actually get to choose? What's the platform that they're?
So like our kind of thought process is like it's going to be like an on ramp to crypto and on ramp to NFTs, where like you're going to get to help control like what is Zero doing today on Twitch, just like you would with any influencer. Like what game am I playing? Who should I talk to? Should I hang out with this person? Like should I do this? And like you can have a very easy thing through Discord or through Twitch polling, but anyone can go and do that. Then the next layer of that is like, cool, you having fun with this? It's like, all right, we're literally about to be launching our next creator. What do you want it to look like? What race from the Nexus universe do you want it to be? You know, what type of hair, what type of outfits, what type of background? Is it a gamer? Is it a musician? Like, what is it? And you have to have an NFT. You go to a website called Snapshot that we're using to, you know, then vote. We're going to be like laying out, here's 3 different options of what this character could be. Which one do you like best? And the community is going to be voting on what we bring to life.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's like,
That's where you're all in right now.
yeah, but all of it, right? Like this brings in opportunities for the agency, and then it's like the content studio. Like we're ramping up. Like we said, we want to get about around 50 shows. That is like just learning so much about what content does work, so that whenever we're bringing these virtual influencers to life, which cost a lot more than just a typical show, like we're then taking all of these learnings. We have an enterprise team to sell into Samsung. We have a content studio to like take learnings from, and our goal is to like how can we build like these major virtual celebrities like over the next 3 years. Like we want to see Iron Mouse as a VTuber pulling in $1 million a month. How do we start building characters like that? Like you mentioned Code Miko earlier, like that's a partner of ours, and it's like how do we build characters that are like much bigger even, right? Like just really have real meaningful influence. And then you start thinking of almost like a FaZe Clan or 100 Thieves, where it's like you've got this network effect of like, well, the next NEX character is that's like what the creators are called. But the next character that we launch like should not take like Zero's grown from 0 to 50K or so across everything in the last month and a half, 2 months, and it's like that's meaningful growth. But it's like the next one should be easier. The next one should go ahead and get 10,000 out the gate. And that's how we think about it. Like the network effect will start growing.
When will you start pivoting away from having like a voice actor and like a real human kind of operating Zero, like almost like a puppet master or a technician or whatever that Code Miko calls it, to having like an AI powered one that's kind of just doing its thing on its own?
It's not on our direct roadmap. You gotta have like really strong talent, like we have for Zero and these other characters. What is more like on the roadmap is augmenting that. And so what I mean by that is like you guys know Cameo, where you can like go and pay a celebrity to do something. It's like that might be able to be automated within the next year. So it's like you go on there and you're like, hey Zero, tell my son happy birthday, and Zero hops on, the synthetic voice sounding like the voice actor that's like, hey Eddie, like happy birthday, right? And like that's something that like we could basically automate relatively easily. If you watch a 2-hour stream with Zero, like there's just to get that level of content.
Are you guys trying to hire streamers to do that because they already know like how to interact with people in that way, or are you hiring like actors, or how are you finding these people?
Streamers and voice actors are like the kind of people we're talking to. Because you think about it, and it's like this isn't the way we're doing it is a completely new like platform and new medium, but like the concept of a voice actor isn't new at all. And so, people are very familiar with like, okay, thousands of animated characters out there have been just voice acted by someone that doesn't actually want to have fame themselves, and they just enjoy doing this. Like we've met with some incredible voice actors that are like at massive characters, and they're like no, I would never move. Like I have no interest in people knowing who I am, even though they voice a character that reaches millions of people every single day.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people we're looking for. People that want to be stars, but don't actually want stardom, that love the idea of creating. It's like one of the things like we thought about is like, it's kind of like putting on like your superhero cape. You know, you live your daily normal life, but then you can literally become a star as a virtual human. And like those are the tools we're building. It's like give people that ability, basically.
Almost like a ghost producer in music. Like
Yeah.
you're the one making the music in the back end, but you're like, I don't want to tour. I don't want to do all that shit. You can be the face of it. I'll just be behind the scenes, pushing buttons, making the music. You have fun.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. And you're focused there more than on TikTok and on everything, right? Like that's
Yeah,
we've hired leadership just across the board so that we can make sure we grow all verticals of the business and provide the resources to each side. So yeah, it's trying to grow them all and scale. I mean, they've all grown tremendously over the last 12 months and brought in a lot of talented people to help us continue to take advantage of that and keep growing. So
yeah, like we hired Michael Heaven. He's our general manager of our agency, and he came from an agency called Social Chain that he joined that went from, he was number 7, they went to 700 in like 7 years, and went in public in the UK. And it's like he opened up 6 of their offices and then came over here and like he's running our agency. So it's like
probably in good hands.
Yeah, so we're hiring.
How'd you find him?
I met him through, I guess we reached out to his old boss and met him in Atlanta and then got connected. I met Michael in the UK when I was traveling over there and then stayed in touch over the last couple of years. And
he became a client.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He became a client at his old agency and then like worked with us for like a year, got to know the business relatively well. Again, like from the UK, he was based in New York, but like their business was from the UK, and he was like, Offbeat has like a real potential of like being a similar story to what they did in the UK, like here in America, because like their founder, he's 28 now probably too, and like scaled that massively. So it was like they were like the young, sexy, innovative like company of the UK, and he saw like what we were doing with across all the portfolio, like we could do that same thing. And so yeah, he's come and helped us go. I think it was, what employee number was he? Remember?
for us,
Yeah.
8, 9.
Yeah, 8, 9
Something like
in May of last year. So it's been like 11 months. And he's helped us go from 8 to over 40, scaling pretty quickly.
Nice, dude. I'm excited. You said next year 100?
That's the goal. Yeah, we're there's a lot of things that could meaningfully scale us to over 100 people.
What is the bulk of that? Like animators, like content creators, writers, or is it more like management type stuff? Like, what are you guys looking for?
We think the agency has like about 15 focus people right now. That should probably be closing into like 40, 50 by itself.
What kind of people? Like what do you look for?
Account managers, salespeople, influencer managers,
Operations type stuff.
operations,
Yeah.
paid media team,
And who comes up with all the concepts and the ideas?
creative team.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
that, and then like on the show's team, producers, video editors, director of, or we just hired in a senior production manager to help us continue to keep growing and scaling. Bring in hosts, but most of those are contract based. If they're doing other things, or we might start trying to bring some people in house for being hosts. Just get full time content creators coming in house would be neat. And then on the virtual team, you can talk more about that. Virtual team, Unreal Engine generalists.
Oh, yeah.
Writers,
Voice actors, like
voice
we were
actors.
saying.
Yeah.
Producers, editors.
And those are all full time usually?
Yeah.
A lot of it, yeah. Most of the roles we have a lot of contractors that we use on like Upwork that we do like for very specific things. Like a lot of the roles we hire full time typically.
And are you guys like financially backed? Like, have you had outside funding like from Mark or other people?
Yeah. We bootstrapped for the first 3 years of the business, and then we actually like, it was kind of funny. Like we did really well in 2020, and we made a very conscious decision of we're not going to raise capital. And then a week later, Mark Cuban slid in the contact form, and we're just like, we'll explore it.
Hey, if it's the right person, you know?
Mark
Sometimes
Rice.
it's about the person, not about the money.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was exactly right. Like he knew what we were doing. He got it. He was excited about
He's
it.
deep in the space too.
Yeah, and like he could open up doors. Like that's how we got our Snapchat relationship, right? It's like we were just like, Mark, we're trying to partner with Snapchat, and he was like, here, let me introduce you to someone on the board. Okay, awesome. And it was like within a day, I'm talking to someone on the board, right? It was like very, very quick on how helpful he's been. But yeah, so we raised a little bit from him, and yeah, the rest like we just continued to grow.
Dope.
I wanted to ask one quick question.
Yeah.
So you guys are on the cutting edge of like what's gonna be in demand as far as like these skill sets and jobs and stuff. Like you mentioned a lot of like positions that like probably didn't exist like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these people that are in careers, if you're talking to people that are like looking to figure out what their career moves are and they're looking at a lot of like traditional options and things like that, like what are the types of careers that you feel like are going to be insanely valuable for people like a high schooler? Like what should they be like looking into?
I've got my answer. So
I'll always go first.
Yeah, I mean, one of the probably hardest skill sets to hire for. We have some awesome people on our team, but like it took a while to find people, and like it is so sought after, and we're competing with every major tech company. Is Unreal Engine generalists.
I knew it.
That understand how to power things in real time, and Unreal is such a powerful, talented, 6-figure skill set if you have a basic understanding. I mean that, and then like the other things I would say is like if that's much more technical, there's some good creativity in there, but like more on the creative side is like a character artist, you know, like learning how to actually like that's something we're hiring a lot for too. Learning how to like create 3D models and like concept art and like then actual like characters and bring them to life, and like, you know, like how do we make this water bottle like actually work within like a virtual environment? Those type of skill sets you can learn through you know, like character modeling. And that 3D modeling, like that's a massive skill set that like you can probably teach yourself in a year and probably you'll get paid a lot of money. And then on the other hand, like probably one of the most valuable skill sets that for some people, and you probably really appreciate this, is like video editing, right? Like just like getting into bringing to life high-end content built for the internet. Like if you can do that, whether you can actually produce it, whether you can edit it, whether you can write it, like you can get hired.
You're speaking the language of the internet.
Yeah, you can get hired. It's just not hard if you have any proof points that you've done that yourself. You have a TikTok that has good content. Like it was funny, we were interviewing someone and like they had Twitter threads, and it was like that they write really well, and like they write good Twitter threads. And then Michael, our general manager's on the call with me, and he goes, "Huh, I followed you the other day." Right? And it's like that's like the epitome of like just coincidence, like writes good Twitter thread, so we followed because that's the skill set we were looking for. And just in content of the internet.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that on the Unreal Engine journalist side. Content of the internet, I mean, anything digital, whether it's knowing how to run paid media, whether it's knowing how to create content, whether it's creating creative ideas, brands, e-commerce brands, like brands like McDonald's, everyone needs help with social. Everything's going digital, so like having just your pulse on that content creation. We're trying to find just countless content creators come in and create either whether it's ads for our brands, UGC stuff, and post on their socials, or it's like internal stuff. Hey, come create content for our shows. I mean, content's king. Y'all know that. Working with a ton of different e-commerce brands, like content is what matters and what drives sales. So anything related to digital, data as well. I mean, people make decisions based off data. So data analysts that can actually take data from Foursquare or other ones and actually extract that data and pitch clients on why it matters, what they need to learn, what you can do with that data. I'd say some of the biggest things. And what I always think is just a skill set that there's always going to need for is sales, knowing how to build relationships, knowing how to sell people. If you know how to build relationships correctly and how to sell people, then you can work anywhere and do sell at any company. So
sweet. So since we're on the topic of advice, this is how we end our podcast. We asked our guests to give us a pizza fortune cookie advice if they could go back like 6 years and like give it to someone of that age, you know. So for you guys, I guess someone like who's just now legally able to drink, if you could give them a fortune cookie, and you know some of these are like CVS receipt lengths, so don't be
it doesn't
don't
have to
feel
be one
constricted
sentence.
to fit it in one sentence.
But what
like,
advice would you give to like a younger version of yourself or younger person right now?
I would say just get started. Just do it and you'll figure it out. There's a lot of highs and lows. I've been on top of the world and I've been at the bottom under the earth, like up and down. It's a roller coaster ride, especially if you're trying to run your own business. Eddie, I'm sure you know this as well. It's a roller coaster ride, whether it's platforms taking you down or it's clients or whatever it might be.
Sometimes you're both at the top and the bottom at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
Makes no sense.
Just,
Dude, I'm so serious.
I relate.
Just knowing that like if you keep pushing forward, you're going to continue to make progress as long as you're moving forward. But just start doing something. I don't care what it is. People are like, oh, I have this brilliant idea, but I don't know if it's going to work. And I'm just like, your first idea is not going to work. Just do something. Our business has pivoted so many times, and we've launched different divisions of the company since we started. My first concept of running Twitter pages 9 years ago is not what I didn't have a business plan there. I just started trying to figure something out, and it led to me to meeting Shep and being where we are now. So just doing something. And then last piece of advice is take care of yourself. Shep and I just work day in and out. I sent him a Snapchat memory from like 3 years ago. And I was like, I just finished working from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Going to bed. And I was a full-time student at the same time. And I was like, wasn't taking care of myself. I would exercise like once every 2 or 3 weeks and just wasn't good. And I've worked out 580 days in a row now or something like that. So
Nice.
Just taking care of yourself, because if you're not happy, if you're not physically and mentally healthy, then like why work so hard if you can't enjoy it, or you aren't enjoying it? So
Love it. What about you, Shep?
Yeah, I've been thinking on the advice I'd like to give. Like one thing, like not just like go and do it, like just to build off of what Bailey said, like go and like get to building, but like learn to learn. Like people don't know how to learn and figure things out so often, and that's something that's I really dig into. In my interviews is like, what's something you've learned recently that you found interesting? Like, be curious. Like, actually go deep and learn something on your own. Is like that's such an important skill set that you can show someone. Like, oh, well, I had this interest. Like one that I love to hear about now in interviews, like NFTs, right? It's like, oh, I heard about this thing, like this JPEG selling for $100,000. So I went deep and actually understood it, right? That's like a big piece of advice. Like actually go deep and like learn things and understand like how like the mechanics behind things work. And then the other piece of advice that like I had someone from where I'm from, a small town in Jessup, Georgia, in southern Georgia, was up here in Atlanta last week, and I grabbed lunch with him. He's like 16 years old, 17 years old, like becoming a music artist, and he was asking me for advice on that. And like one of the things I said was like, don't listen to advice down in Jessup, and it wasn't about Jessup specifically, but it was more about like, you're going to have a ton of people tell you like how to become a successful like music artist, and like most people aren't going to have a clue. Most people aren't going to know what like maybe they did something 10 or 20 years ago, but they're not going to have a clue what's happening now. And like that's something I've seen, like so many people like listen to advice, people that aren't really like where they're trying to go. And I think that's like an important piece of advice, is like always like realize like who are you listening to, and like are they where you want to be? And if they're not, like don't listen to them. You can take wisdom from them, but don't take everyone's like word for gold. Because I know like I've just definitely seen like a lot of like younger people coming up and waste like 3 years on something that like it just wasn't a good idea. And yeah, I think that's important.
Love it. So if people want to connect with you guys, where can they follow you, or where should they follow you? How can they get in touch with you?
At Grady on Instagram. I'll just plug that right there. Or LinkedIn, Bailey Grady. Email bailey@offbeat.xyz. Love connecting and just chatting with people. So
yeah, I'm Shep Ogden, SHEPOGDEN on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. LinkedIn or Twitter, probably the easiest to actually get in touch with me though.
You didn't decide to like put your cat's name as your username?
I didn't. None of that.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. It was a fucking blast talking to you guys, cool. And I'm excited to maybe reconnect and in a bit in the future and see where this all has taken you guys to.
Thanks for having us. I'm glad I ran into the airport like 4 weeks
ago. What
ago.
are the chances, so right?
I looked over, I was walking by, and I turned and I looked, and I was like, I think that's Eddie, but we both had masks on. I was like, I don't know if that's Eddie. And I kind of stared at him, and I was like, I think that's Eddie. I pointed at him, he's like, and we went and started talking. So yeah, it was really funny just seeing you there, and been 4 years or 3.5 years since we last saw each other in person. So it's been phenomenal seeing your business grow and everything else over the last few years, following you on social the entire time. So it's been fun to see.
Likewise, dude. Let's keep going to the moon, man. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the 4Media Uncut podcast. If you want to work with us, learn with us, or even join the team and be a part of what we're doing at 4Media Marketing, just go to our website. It's 4media.marketing. No .com, no .net, .marketing, because that's all we do around here. And most importantly, share this with a friend wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Please hit that share button, send it over to a friend, someone else that you think will get value out of this. It would mean the world to us.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and comment down below any suggestions for future guests. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate this 5 stars and leave us a review there. That helps us tremendously in the algorithm world. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of 4Media Uncut Podcast.